Hi guys, we're back today doing a joystick install on the Mortal Kombat 1 machine. This is a set of HAPP Competition joysticks that I ordered from Tornado Terry's. He's a seller on eBay and sells joysticks, buttons, lots of different stuff for arcade machines. I think he has maybe some MAME stuff. But I ordered a full set of competition joysticks and buttons about 1.5 or 2 years ago for the Mortal Kombat 2 machine. And that's what I have installed on here right now. And I don't think they've changed them too much. All the switches and stuff have a different manufacturer now on the controls that he sells. I don't know if all HAPPs have done this or not, but they've went to what they call E-switches. And they used to have cherry switches, which was one of the most popular manufacturers, but supposedly Cherry has been pricing their switches higher now, so most of the HAPP joysticks and buttons and stuff that I've been seeing on Tornado Terry's at least have been coming with switches called E-switches. It's a different manufacturer, and they're supposed to be rated at the same life cycles. You know, they have so many presses that they rate them at, you know, and you're not supposed to be able to tell a difference, so I hope that's the case. You can see on the bottom here, see if I can get it in the light where you can see it. Not sure you can because this is not focusing very well. But anyway, they say E-switch on there instead of cherry, and otherwise you can't tell the difference. I don't know if they're going to feel a little stiffer or a little more clicky, but you know, the main thing I'm concerned with is that the switches work and the joysticks feel about the same. They feel a little stiffer to me as far as the springs as to what I feel on my Mortal Kombat 2 competitions that were installed, like I said, almost 2 years ago, I think. But it's probably just because I've just, you know, stuck the shaft down inside there and you know, just kind of give it a little flick and it feels stiffer, and it's because it's not mounted in the control panel. Most likely I'm just holding it in my hands when I do it, and once I install them I'm pretty sure they'll feel exactly the same. They probably haven't changed the spring. These feel a little stiffer to me, but I did notice one thing. This actuator, which these newer ones are black, and I think the very early ones that people used to really love, I think they were like a white, maybe a different type of plastic. These black ones were in the ones that I installed here on the Mortal Kombat 2. If you take a look, exact same type of actuator. But some people had some complaints. I think they said that this actuator, it doesn't actually go on the shaft of the stick itself. It goes on this plastic tube that's mounted with a spring assembly inside the base, and the shaft of the joystick goes straight down in the middle. And then you put a little clip. Thought I had it laying there. It is. Install this clip on the end, and it holds the actuator onto the end of the joystick shaft. And as you press it right and left, you know, it actuates the buttons out and back. And if you go diagonal, it hits 2 buttons at a time, like this one and this one. But these are looser now. If you see, I'm able to turn this real easy with my fingers. It's like it's almost free floating on the plastic tube that the joystick shaft goes down inside of. Well, on the older HAPP competitions that I ordered for the Mortal Kombat 2, it went on like really tight, and after you put the clip on and everything, if you were on like at the top of the control panel and you twisted your hand like that, the actual actuator would twist and it would stay in a position like that. And some people felt like that was causing them some issues. Now, once you press it in a certain direction, it would, you know, it would recenter itself pretty well. But I guess people wanted it more free floating, so that every time you press it to a corner or a side, instead of staying cocked like that into your next movement, they wanted it to already be recentered. And so it seems like they've maybe increased the diameter of the hole in this actuator, or decrease the little plastic tube on the inside that, you know, the spring is all hooked to and all, and maybe it makes it recenter itself a little better. And I thought at first that after you put the clip on that it didn't make a difference, that the pressure from the spring and then the clip against it would make it have pressure that would keep it like that anyway. But upon more closely looking at it, it seems like the clip that you put on the end actually only has pressure on the end of this plastic tube, and there's just enough difference in how long the tube is when it sticks out through the actuator, and how deep the actuator is, that all the pressure from the clip stays on the plastic tube itself and not on the actuator, so the actuator still flows kind of free. But anyway, I'm gonna take and replace these very terrible joysticks. Like I said, they're really loose, they're sloppy feeling. I put some different micro switches on the back of these on the Mortal Kombat 1. You see, these do have a very old looking plastic actuator on them, but these are just horrible. They do have cherry switches on there, but I don't even think there were the original cherry switches that were on there when this machine was probably manufactured. And these sticks here, from what I remember back in the day, they were always red, like on the Mortal Kombat 2, and most of them I see online that seem to be restored have the red competition joysticks in place. Just from my memory, I think they were always red, and looked just exactly like these on the Mortal Kombat 2. But I just know these are sloppy, they're terrible. I'll be using Kano, and it'll do Kano's, ball attack, and I don't even mean it to. I'll just barely flip it, and it does that by accident, and I can't hit my corners very well. I try to do a jumping side kick, and he'll just jump straight up in the air, like I press straight up. And I'm hoping after I replace these, everything will be a lot better and control better. The only thing I'm concerned with, there's no plexiglass cover on this. So it's not quite as big a hassle as my Mortal Kombat 2. Mortal Kombat 2 has those screws that you have to take loose if you want to get that metal control panel like cover loose from the wood. You take those loose, and then you have screw studs that extend down to the inside like this here, and taps on the bottom. Take all those taps loose in all these different locations. They're all across and everything. It lets you pull the metal control panel top that has the artwork on it loose, and you can get access to the dust shields that a lot of people just they just put on top. They let them like free float around the top, and either way is fine. Either way looks okay. Probably doesn't get as much crud down in there if you do have the dust washer sitting on top. But to me, it just seems like it kind of comes out just a little bit and maybe covers up just a little bit of the artwork. And I thought it looked more factory like this, And so when I made my new plexiglass cover for this one, I took everything apart and took the metal control panel artwork off, and the new dust washers that came with these joysticks were totally different than the ones from the joysticks that were on here before. Those joysticks were about wore out, and the dust washers had a smaller diameter hole in the middle, so I had to change them out to use these joysticks. I was hoping I wouldn't have to, because I knew I'd have to take apart all this sandwich stuff on top of the control panel to get into them. Plus, once you get the dust washer in there, you got to kind of keep it centered and slide the joysticks in place to hold them, or else when you go to put everything back together, it's hard to get those dust washers to move back in place where they're not like sandwiched in between the wood control panel and the metal artwork piece, And it's a lot easier just to kind of lay the metal artwork piece back on top and get the dust washers in position, slide your sticks in temporarily, and start to bolt it all back together, and then go ahead and assemble your joystick, put it on the bottom, mount it up and all. But it's a little more difficult, but I think, to me, I like the way the overall look is better. And you can see those dust washers are in between. They're sandwiched in between, but at least I won't have to take all the screws loose for the plexiglass, because there's no plexiglass on this one. That's something I never figured out. I don't think these even came with plexiglass on them. I haven't seen a lot. I think some of the other guys on YouTube might have some on theirs. I don't know if they put them on, made them themselves, or did aftermarket. I'm sure it's the same buttonhole alignment as a plexiglass or Lexan cover for Mortal Kombat 2, but I haven't made one for this yet, and it didn't come with one, so I'm probably not going to do it for a little while. I might make one later just to kind of protect the artwork. But anyway, I'm going to cut away from here and maybe show you a few processes along the way in changing the joysticks out.